Hello, it is a great joy to take part in the Island Reads initiative that's happening this week. My name is Reverend Christiaan Snell. I'm the minister in St. Patrick's Church in Granard, and on invitation of Granard Library, I like to share a book that I've been reading recently and just actually completed it. It's a book by Barack Obama called Promised Land. It is the story of his time leading up to being elected as President of the United States, and of course his time in the White House. It's a great book, and I want to read an extract from one of the chapters where, on the day that Barack Obama became inaugurated as the President of the United States. And let me just read some of his recollections and thoughts of that day and that time in his life. He says that with the main event behind me, I let myself relax and soak in the spectacle. I was moved by the sight of the Bushes mounting the stairs to their helicopter and turning to wave one final time. I felt pride holding Michelle's hand as we walked a portion of the parade route. I was tickled by the parade participants, Marines, mariachi bands, astronauts, Tuskegee Airmen, and especially the high school bands from every state in the Union, including my alma mater Pantyhose marching band, Go Buffs and Blue. Michelle and I attended a total of 10 inaugural balls that evening. Michelle was a chocolate brown vision in her flowing white gown, and at our first stop I took her in my arms and spun her around and whispered silly things in her ear as we danced to a sublime rendition of At Last by Beyonce. At the Commanders-in-Chief Ball, we split up to dance with two charming and understandably nervous young members of our armed forces. The other 8 balls I'd be hard-pressed to remember. By the time we got back to the White House, it was well past midnight. The party for our family and closest friends was still going strong in the East Room, with the Wynton Marsalis quintet showing no signs of letting up. 12 hours in high heels had taken a toll on Michelle's feet, and since she had to get up an hour earlier than I did to get her hair done for another church service the next morning, I offered to stay and entertain our guests while she headed to bed. Just a few lights were on by the time I got upstairs. Michelle and the girls were asleep. The sound of night crews clearing dishes and breaking down tables and chairs barely audible from below. I realized I hadn't been alone all day. For a moment, I just stood there, looking up and down at the enormous central hall, not yet certain of where each of the many doors led, taking in the crystal chandeliers and a baby grand piano, noticing a Monet on one wall and a Cézanne on another, pulling out some of the books on the shelf, examining small busts and artifacts and portraits of people I didn't recognize. My mind went back to the first time I had been in the White House some 30 years ago, when as a young community organizer, I had brought a group of students to Washington to lobby their congressman on a bill to increase student aid. The group of us had stood outside the gate along Pennsylvania Avenue, a few students mugging and taking pictures with disposable cameras. I remember staring at the windows on the second floor, wondering if at that very moment someone might be looking down at us. I tried to imagine what they might be thinking. Did they miss the rhythms of ordinary life? Were they lonely? Did they sometimes feel a jolt in their heart and wonder how it was that they had ended up where they were? I'd have my answers soon enough, I thought. Pulling off my tie, I walked slowly down the hall, turning off what lights remained on. Well, that's a little extract from Barack Obama's book, A Promised Land, and it's worth a read, even though it's 700 pages long. It's been a while since I've read a book in that length, but I want to recommend it to you, and I wish you a good time celebrating Island Reads this week. Thank you.